Good morning. It's 8:30. We'll get started with our Kent County Board of Commissioners meeting. I will ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Chair. Commissioners Bujak.
Present.
Vice Chair Burrell.
Here.
Commissioners DeBoer. Here. Faber.
Here.
Halsted. Here. Hennessy. Here. Hildenbrand.
Here.
Coleman.
Here.
LeGrand. McLeod.
Present.
Merchant. Here. Morales. Morse. Here. Oliver King. Here. Pakla.
Here.
Ponstein. Here. Sparks. Steck.
Here.
Teal. Here. Womack.
Here.
Chair Green.
Here.
Mr. Chair, you have 19 members present, 2 absent. You have a quorum.
Thank you. We'll move to agenda item number 3, and I will call on Commissioner Faber for the invocation.
Good morning. As we gather this morning to do the work of community, let us pause to remember the rhythm of the world beyond these walls and the work we share for the common good. Last week, we lost Jane Goodall at the age of 91. She was a titan of the conservation movement, known for her lifelong work protecting animals, the environment, and the deep connections that bind us both. She often reminded us that we have more in common with the natural world and with one another than we often admit. Jane Goodall once said, "Each one of us matters, has a role to play, and makes a difference. Each one of us must take responsibility for our own lives, and above all, show respect and love for living things around us." May we carry that truth with care today, knowing that our choices, however small, touch lives beyond our sight. And as we head into fall, I'd like to close with a poem by Wendell Berry. Wendell Berry's an author from rural Kentucky. He spent his life advocating for small farmers, healthy regional economies, and like Jane Goodall, a deeper connection to the land and to local communities. This poem is called "The Wild Geese." Horseback on Sunday morning, harvest over. We taste persimmon and wild grape, sharp sweet of summer's end. In time's maze over fall fields, we name names that rest on graves. We open persimmon seed to find the tree that stands in promise pale in the seed's marrow. Geese appear high over us, pass, and the sky closes. Abandon, as in love or sleep, holds them to their way, clear in the ancient faith. What we need is here. And we pray, not for new earth or heaven, but to be quiet in heart and in eye clear. What we need is here. May we too be quiet in heart, clear in purpose, and steadfast in our care for this place and its people. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Faber. We will move on to agenda item number 5, which is the special order of business. And I would like to welcome our friends from the 17th Circuit Court and friend of the court. Good morning, Andy.
Good morning. Thank you. Andy Thalhammer, Circuit Court Administrator. I bring greetings from our Chief Judge McNabb. Her thanks for the opportunity to share an update on the court's performance and how we're doing. While we're a separate branch of government, we greatly value the partnership with the county and appreciate the chance to highlight how our work aligns with the shared goals of effective service, accountability, and responsible stewardship of public resources. My aim is to briefly give you a picture of the progress we're making towards this, including access to justice, operational efficiency, which all serve the residents of Kent County. Unfortunately, the court managers conference for the state of Michigan is going on this week, so a lot of my direct reports are up there. I think they were enjoying the weather, but maybe not so much anymore. Also, we had a little bit of judge turnover. Judge Trusak and Judge Hillary both retired last year. Judge DeLange and Judge Johnson have filled in admirably. They're both very experienced. They've both been assigned to the family division and have hit the ground running and doing quite well. All right, for those new to the board, the 17th Circuit Court in Kent County is the court of general jurisdiction. That means that we have legal authority to hear virtually any case type, unless a law specifically limits our power to do so or assigns a case to another court. An example of that, misdemeanors are handled in district court, wills estates are handled in probate court. We are the circuit. We handle criminal matters if it's going to be a felony, which means that the punishment could be over a year in prison or incarceration. Civil matters where the amount in dispute is over $25,000. We do domestics, divorce, child custody, child support. Also, our juvenile delinquency and child abuse neglect matters are handled in our family division of circuit court. In 2024, under the new leadership of Chief Judge McNabb, we went through a strategic planning process. For those interested, it is on the website if you want to get into the details. I've highlighted our strategic focus areas from that plan. And from that, there's about 7 or 8 projects that we're implementing this year. Of those, some pretty major ones, which I plan to hit on during this presentation. First of all, one of the strategic focus areas was to enhance our access and services to programs. That has come to be in juvenile justice reform. This was also implemented on us by the state of Michigan through the passage of some new laws. Specifically, what we're doing differently as a result of the legislation is listed above. Detention screening tool. This is a state requirement, and basically every youth before they come into detention goes through a standardized risk assessment to make sure they meet a certain level of risk, so that kids that are low risk do not have to be placed in detention or not in detention. This does not override a judicial decision. If at a hearing a judge decides that a youth must go to detention, that's where they go. Also, our risk-based or services matrix and core corrections practice. This is a more intentional way of dealing with youth that are brought to us in the system. Each youth goes through a risk assessment where the criminogenic need is identified. What is the risk factor that's going to lead to more criminal behavior? What is the need that needs to address that, and then what is our response to that in an intervention? Way more focused on those needs during this. A lot of probation officers were doing this already with their interventions, but this is just a more intentional way of doing it and documenting it as such. Our service matrix, we're basically identifying all the services we handle and where they're going to be more successful depending on the risk factors of the youth that we have in front of us as well. I do want to highlight some of the things going on in detention as well. I think the past few times I've been here, we've been talking about staffing crisis, we've been talking about bed shortages, et cetera. Leadership of Tim Nelson and Hugh Martin Robinson, I think, has alleviated or helped to alleviate a lot of that, especially with the staffing crisis. Also want to shout out to our HR department. They were with us along the way with this. They advocated for a pay increase for youth specialists, which helped. I want to thank the board for authorizing that pay increase. It has made a huge difference. Also the assistants, we're getting a few more staff this budget cycle as well, which will alleviate our need to use overtime, our ability to meet licensing requirements when we have staff call-ins, that type of thing. There's also been a placement shortage for residential treatment in the state of Michigan. It's been statewide. That continues. However, we have taken steps. We've opened another pod for residential treatment in our detention facility. We now have 24 beds. They've been pretty full. Aisha Johnson-White was hired to kind of come and help implement some new strategies in that program. We've gone from a 6-month to a 9-month program and included a lot of aftercare services when they get out. That new program started in August of 2024. Early signs are success, but again, it's a 9-month program, and then we've got a few months aftercare. So I know that a few kids have been able to get off probation already, so it has been helpful. To prioritize timely and fair resolution, the chart here is our time guidelines, which is basically how quickly are we doing cases. So depending on the case type, SCAO has said, you should get. Criminal cases should be done in a year. Civil cases should be done in 1.5 years or 2 years. I don't have the exact times in front of me, but these are the percentage of cases that meet those time guidelines. These have been pretty consistent since COVID, a little lower than they were before COVID. I don't know if we know exactly why that is. We don't really see a backlog per se. that we were dealing with in COVID, but I guess some remnants remain. We do have a committee designed to address this, to try and speed things up. Nick Little and Michelle Crow, who's here on behalf of FOC, along with Judge Quist and Ackert, have led that committee. But to explain, it's not a lot of low-hanging fruit in this. The due process in the state of Michigan, it's an adversarial system, which emphasizes accuracy and fairness a lot more than speed. So circuit court deals with a lot of complex matters. So like I said, it's not an easy thing to find ways to speed things up, but we are devoting resources to that. Modernizing our court infrastructure. This is the big one. This is Operation Paperless. This is e-filing. This is digitizing our files. Got a few highlights here that I'm going to speed through, but we went paperless with civil cases back in April. Earlier this month, we were able to set up the portal on WebTex or with the website so that we can do it. I've heard no complaints about that, and believe me, I would. I guess the only issue they have is they're ready for more case types to be implemented with the paperless. This has been a huge effort. Sandra, my deputy, Nick Little, Dan Staub, who runs our information systems, and his staff, Heather Blodgett, who's our Court Services Department, Community Corrections. We plucked her from Ottawa County, who's already been doing this. Marissa Lopez, Amy Doring, and the clerk's office have worked so hard on this. The probate staff has been working. I don't know if Tim Beck is here, my friend Tim Beck and his staff, MB and the on-base team especially. It's been a huge, I feel like I'm giving an award show, and I'm getting played off, and I'm gonna miss some people, and I'm gonna feel bad about it. But there's just been an awful lot of people. FOC, who's been paperless for a while, huge impact in this project. And finally, problem-solving courts. I did want to touch on this a little bit. We have two official problem-solving courts where SCAO basically gives us money to operate those. Those are our treatment support court and our juvenile treatment and support court. TASC and JTASC, we call them. These are mental health courts. Won't go too much into details. They're available if you want them from me. But these are some pretty challenging cases we're getting. We're seeing a lot of success in improved mental health outcomes, improved employment outcomes, reduced recidivism for them. I think we're seeing a little more success in the adult end of this than the juvenile. But even in the juvenile, even if the recidivism rates aren't as good, we are providing a lot of access to parents and families for these mental health supports that they probably wouldn't get otherwise. Our young offender treatment program in girls' court are not official problem-solving courts, although it'd be hard to tell the difference between them. But because they're not recognized as such, we don't really get funding from them outside of what you all give us. So we are taking steps to do that. Our young offender treatment program, which basically involves low-risk people charged with criminal sexual conduct. If the prosecutor vets the case and believes that treatment would be better served in this case than prison, and the victim agrees to this, then that's the route we take, where treatment providers are involved. And we've been able to avoid a lot of people, young people, going to prison. And our girls' court is specific for our female offenders in our juvenile court. Judge Gardner's been running it for quite some time. We've seen a lot of success with it. We're taking steps in both of these. Our young offender treatment program, oh dear.
We'll give you some more time.
All right, thank you. The young offender treatment program is currently, we went through an assessment, showed success. That's currently being peer reviewed to see if it's a best practice. And girls' court, we're taking steps to bring in some people too to see if we can get some sort of certification for it as well, which would probably open the doors for some outside funding for it. And I just wanted to say very quickly, we've got a few challenges in front of us. I didn't put them on the slides, but we remain an underjudged court. The last few judicial resources report recommendations have demonstrated as such. There's a new one coming probably by the end of this month that I assume will say the same. And also, between the time that I did this presentation and now, the state passed a budget which included the elimination of the West Michigan Partnership for Children, which was, if you're not aware of, but a lot of the foster care system in the county. I want to publicly thank them for continuing their operations because I don't think they have a contract right now to do so. So a lot of people are working for, I don't know if they're working for free, but the assurance of being paid is probably not there. This will cause some issues with the court, either logistically or otherwise. It is a DHHS responsibility, so we're kind of waiting for them and working with them, and I don't think anyone expected this, so there was no transition plan, so a lot of phone calls are being made and a lot of meetings are being scheduled to get it going. So that's it. Any questions now, or do you want FOC to go first?
We can do questions for, actually, let's have FOC go, and then we'll have questions for everybody. That'd be great.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you for having me today to talk about our work at Friend of the Court in 2024. My name is Tracy Schenkel. I am the Kent County Friend of the Court, and I'm proud to say that. And our mission is a simple one, but it's a powerful one: to serve the court and the families of Kent County, to ensure that children are supported both financially and emotionally. And we do that work throughout the county in managing 36,000 cases, on which there are over 50,000 children. Those are big numbers. But behind every one of those numbers is a family, a child, and a story. So I'd like to walk you through our 2024 impact by telling you two stories that represent thousands of families that we worked with in 2024. So first, please meet Molly. Molly is the mom of two, soon to be three. Molly, for her children are her world. But her FOC journey starts at a time of crisis. In fact, it starts in one of the worst places imaginable: domestic violence shelter, Safe Haven Ministries shelter specifically. Molly has concerns about the uncertainty of her family moving forward and what it will mean if she moves forward and files for divorce. While she's at Safe Haven, she learns that Friend of the Court visits Safe Haven on a regular basis and meets with parents, residents, and other folks that receive services at that organization to answer questions about the court process, Friend of the Court, and how to access Friend of the Court services. Molly schedules one of those appointments. She meets with Friend of the Court staff, and she leaves that appointment feeling like she has a better idea of what her path forward from a court perspective looks like and what resources are available to her. As Molly's story continues, she does file for divorce. And with that filing also brings questions and disputes about custody and parenting time. The judge assigned to Molly's case refers her case to Friend of the Court for a parenting time, custody, and child support investigation. Molly receives notice from Friend of the Court about that investigation, when it's going to start, and some paperwork for her to fill out prior to that investigation. And she's nervous. She's anxious. She's concerned. She's concerned specifically about some of the safety implications, given the dynamics happening within her family. So she takes advantage of one of the resources she learned at Safe Haven to schedule an online appointment, to go online, schedule an appointment with Friend of the Court, and have a private, dedicated time to go over those questions and concerns. So Molly's able to have that appointment, gets her concerns addressed, understands and learns about the investigative process, and is able to move forward with that process and participate in that process in a meaningful way. And through that process, the Friend of the Court is going to gather information, talk to the parents, and ultimately put together a formal report and recommendation that is submitted to the court. So the judge has a clear idea of what is happening in the family and can make a final decision in this case focused on the child-centered best interest factors for Molly's children. Now, eventually, Molly's case does resolve. Custody is resolved, and her divorce is finalized by the 17th Circuit Court, but she still has concerns moving forward, specifically regarding the financial stability for her children. But fortunately, Molly doesn't have to worry too much because there is a child support order in place. And there's an automatic process set up by Friend of the Court for funds to be automatically withheld from income and then deposited into either a bank account or onto a card for Molly's use. And that's money used for the children's needs, to support the children, for food, for clothing, for housing, for health care, for childcare. So Molly's able to move forward confidently knowing that those resources will be there, and she doesn't have to worry about setting up that process herself. Friend of the court does that for her. And in the event that there's noncompliance with that court-ordered child support moving forward, she also knows that friend of the court can initiate and will initiate, if appropriate, enforcement action on that case. And that could include civil contempt proceedings, where that parent who is not meeting their financial obligation that's court-ordered is required to appear in court and explain to the judge why that is. Now, at the end of Molly's divorce, she knows that the child support that's entered at that time probably isn't going to be appropriate for the entirety of her children's childhood. But that's okay, because she can request a child support review with friend of the court when circumstances change that would change the support amount. And every 3 years, she can do that automatically by simply asking for that child support review. So Molly can move forward confident that friend of the court is there to help ensure that financial stability for her children. I want to tell you another story. It's a different story. Please meet Daniel. Daniel is a new dad, and he's excited. You can see thumbs up all around. He is excited about being a new dad. And his friend of the court journey starts a little bit differently. Through a coordinated effort with Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, the Michigan Office of Child Support, and the Kent County Prosecuting Attorney's Office, a child support case is started in Daniel's case for his daughter, and ultimately culminates in a judgment of support and child support order that is then passed on to friend of the court. Now, that paperwork means more to Daniel than simply his rights and responsibilities as a father. It represents to him the role that he plays in his daughter's life moving forward. And so he benefits greatly from early engagement through friend of the court. Once that case is passed off to friend of the court, Daniel receives a call. And we prioritize those state-initiated cases to reach out to parents like Daniel and explain, hey, Daniel, you have a child support order. This is what your order says. This is how you make payments. This is how you can contact friend of the court if you have problems or issues or questions. Oh, and here are some other resources that are also available to you. Now, for Daniel, the most important thing for him is engagement and having a relationship with his daughter. So he's particularly interested in the friend of the court services for parenting time, to help him establish parenting time and have an enforceable court order for parenting time to ensure that his daughter has time to bond with and build a relationship with her father. But things happen. Does not always go according to plan. Daniel is looking forward to Thanksgiving. But Thanksgiving comes and goes, and Daniel doesn't get his parenting time. So like thousands of parents every year, he calls friend of the court. And he learns about the process to get friend of the court assistance to enforce his parenting time order. He learns about the complaint process, is provided detailed instructions on how to participate in that process. He meets with friend of the court staff or the other parent to resolve the issue, and if needed, goes to court to enforce that order. But life continues to happen as it does. Daniel loses his job. And again, like many parents throughout the year, one of his first calls is to friend of the court. He's concerned about his child support obligation. He's concerned about consequences if he doesn't meet that obligation. He calls friend of the court and he learns about the Resources for Parents program. He enrolls in that program. And through that program, through that intensive case management provided by friend of the court staff, Daniel's connected with community resources. He's able to gain new employment, and he's able to get back on track with his child support obligation and be the father that he wants to be. And we talk to thousands of parents like Molly and Daniel every year, and we encounter them most meaningfully out in the community, which is why we focus on expanding our community outreach, and in 2024 did 80 different community outreaches with over 20 different community partners. And we meet with partners and engage with partners especially as well, because we know that parents have friend of the court questions or child support questions or custody questions, and they'll ask anybody that they come in contact with. So educating and training other community partners as well on friend of the court services is crucial in helping parents so they have multiple points of contact to understand resources that are available to them and how they might proceed in any particular course of action. And this type of collaboration is crucial to our success. Whether it's collaborating with the circuit court as a whole, whether it's collaborating with our state and federal partners, and of course our community partners as well, collaboration is key and will continue to be key to ongoing successes. And one of the collaborations we're most excited about right now that I wanted to share with you is collaboration within the 17th Circuit with juvenile detention. Our staff pictured here on the slide have developed FOC Academy. And they are going into juvenile detention and working with the young men who are residents there and educating them on the rights and responsibilities of fatherhood. And some of the young men there are already fathers, and educating them on friend of the court services and responsibilities. And we're excited to expand that in the future for a counterpart for young women and to bring that to other organizations as well. Thank you on behalf of me and my entire staff for your ongoing partnership and support. And thank you for your time and attention today. And I think we're ready to take some questions.
Thank you, Tracy. Questions from the board for either Andy or Tracy? I saw Commissioner Steck.
Thank you, Chair Green. Good morning. Thank you for the report and all the hard work that you guys do. Tracy, for you first, great information in describing the process that people go through. You and I know, however, many of these individuals, this is an incredibly difficult time for them, and regardless of how appropriate the analysis and the work of the FOC is, frequently people don't feel like they were treated fairly in the system. We used to have a kind of an oversight committee with the board. We don't have that anymore. So I want to have you just tell us a little bit, what's the recourse for those that feel that the FOC hasn't treated them fairly?
Thank you for that question. I appreciate that, Commissioner Stack. Yes, we did eliminate the Citizens Advisory Council. The Citizens Advisory Council would review grievances received from individuals who had some complaints about how their case was handled or perhaps how they were treated. That grievance process still exists to the question of how does this continue without the oversight of that committee. That grievance process still exists. We still investigate every one of those grievances. Any grievance that comes to us, and there were two in 2024 that said we need to address this. And we either need to address this with a staff member through appropriate personnel action, or we need to have some additional training or for that staff member, or perhaps both. So we do continue to have that internal oversight, and then at the end of every year, all of this information is also turned over to the State Court Administrator's Office, who also provides oversight and reviews all of that information. And then that is all put into a report for the Michigan legislators, who also review the same information. So while that committee is not in place, accountability still exists.
Plenty of resources available and recourse to the individual. Good. Thank you for that. And then just a follow-up question for you, Andy. With respect to the mental health courts, certainly very grateful that the court continues to be doing that. Does SCAO have a set of standards that you're required to meet or shoot for and report on?
Yes, they do.
Okay. Is that a report that you produce yearly?
Yep, we do a yearly report, and it's part of the application for the next one as well. And I can get those details if you're
Yeah, thank you.
interested.
If you could send that out, that would be great. Thank you.
Commissioner LeGrand.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I also wanted to ask Andy about the, when you talked about getting outside funding, was that specifically hoping SCAO would step up for those other two courts, or were you thinking someone else?
It would be someone else. We've approached SCAO on a few issues, and right now the statute, in their opinion, the statute does not include these types of things for specialty court programs. So federal funding, there's, we've learned there's a lot of possibilities out there. So, yeah, but this is kind of, they said the next step is to make sure that you can show that this is evidence-based and working, and you're going to have a much better chance at doing it. So that's kind of the step,
Great.
this intermediate step.
Okay, I mean, I know I've heard such good things about the successes from both those courts, so I hope that works out. And then I just wanted to ask for a little more detail on needing another judge. Is there a specific docket that is, or is it sheerly number of cases?
Yeah, the judicial resources or the recommendation report comes out. Basically, they do time studies. This one, they actually had staff do time studies as well. But every judge in the state does it, where they kind of say what case type they're working on, et cetera. That kind of all goes into a thing, and then they come up with, all right, so like a capital felony should require this many judicial minutes. And how many capital felonies do we have? This many judicial minutes for that. They do that basically for every case type we handle. And at the end, it kind of spits out a raw number. And then they will come to us for secondary analysis, which is the process now, where we talk about, well, we have referees that are doing things. We have, extra staff that can help with this, or this stuff is those types of issues. And after secondary analysis, which I think they're evaluating now, then that next report comes out. So that's the process.
Okay, thank you. Thanks very much.
Commissioner Hennessy.
Thank you. I appreciate particularly the focus on family and children in today's report. This is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and so it was interesting to receive your report today. But Mr. Thalhammer, I was really interested when you were talking about the percentage of cases resolved within time guidelines, that the child welfare category was the lowest percentage-wise at 80%. And I was wondering if you could just expand on that a little bit.
Well, a few things have happened as of late in the child welfare system. One is that more attorneys are now authorized, so dads, again, in a lot of these instances, we might not know who one of the parents is. That parent is still now authorized to get an attorney. There's a lot going on in the child welfare system right now with turnover in workers, so they're just very complex cases, and sometimes they take longer to get it right than what the guidelines are from SCAO. I don't really have any better answer than that, these are complex cases. We're working as quickly as we can, but sometimes we go beyond the time guidelines. And some would say that the time guidelines might be a little too fast. Sometimes it might take more than a year to get a reunification in place. So I think our judges would rather hold on to the case a little bit longer to get the services in place than, meet that guideline and dismiss the case prior to that.
If I could follow up, I know earlier you said, you do value accuracy over time on this, but what does this do for the safety and the welfare of our youngest people, the child welfare?
As far as it taking longer, I think that would be one of the reasons why we would hold on to a case longer, to make sure that whatever setting the child is going to be going back to is safe for that child to be.
Okay. Thank you.
Commissioner Ponson.
Thank you, Chair Green. So I got a question for each of you. So Tracy, I'll start with you. It'll be maybe the quickest. On one of your slides, you had mentioned you had 80 outreaches with 20 organizations. Can you define better for me what is an outreach? Is it an individual case, or are you outreaching for advocating for all the cases that might come forward?
Thank you for that very good question, Commissioner Ponstein. And the answer is it's both. So we have outreaches where we work one-on-one with parents in a private setting to talk specifically about their case, because of course that's not appropriate to do in a public setting, to give very detailed information about someone's family. So we do outreaches that are private like that, like with the Safe Haven. We do something similar at Puertas Abiertas. And we do something similar with Alpha Men's Group, Alpha GR. So there's one category of outreach. And we have a category of outreach that is service-oriented. One example is we do a bench warrant clinic. So we provide like an amnesty event. Our most recent one was yesterday, and we had the most folks attend and participate than ever before in that particular event. And that is where we invite all parents who might benefit from that particular resource invite them via email, via flyer, via mailing, invite them to come into that particular outreach where it's out in the community. So folks are not coming downtown, they're going closer to where they're located and where their families are located. So that's another type of outreach. And then I would say that sort of third bucket of outreach is the more general tabling type of outreach, where we might be at a resource fair, or we were at the Community Fest in North Kent, where folks can get generalized information from front of the courts. It kind of fits in all three of those buckets. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does.
Thank you.
Thank you. Andy, so I'm going to tag on to Commissioner Hennessy on the page 7, the prioritize timely and fair resolutions. So if you look at the numbers, you'll see like 90%, 87, 96, 88, 88, and then 80. If you're within the goal, everyone's happy. But the calls commissioners get is when it's on the other side of that goal. Is there a time where it's past the goal that we set to meet? When does it become unacceptable? Does it become, if the timeline's a year and a half, and I know cases can be different, more difficult, but when it gets to 2, 3, 4 years out, is there a point when it's unacceptable, and what do we do as a court to rectify those hard cases?
So if we have cases that are still pending and beyond guidelines, basically, we submit a report to SCAO every quarter about what those cases are, with an explanation for the reason behind it. If it gets to be an inordinate amount of time, as the case you suggested has, then SCAO would reach out and demand some sort of, corrective action or something to that effect.
Commissioner Womack.
Thank you very much. A few questions for Tracy. Thank you for your service at Friend of the Court. One of the things when I left my career in New York, moved back to my hometown of Grand Rapids, I started a show called The Pulse of the City. And in our top 5 issues, we would have parents that would call about CPS. And there were a whole lot of problems. In the recent years, I followed some families that were going through it, and I can say over the last 10 years, there's been a lot of positive things that have changed in CPS. Number one, trying to keep those children with family members when they're first brought in, and being able to stay in safe homes like grandparents or aunts and uncles while those parents are going through some courses on being better parents. So I've definitely seen that in about 3 cases that I followed. Contact, though, has always been pretty hard, getting in contact with CPS. I've had some calls that I've made before. I've come down before sometimes, and when you come down, they won't take a message upstairs. Or can you tell me how hard is it for parents to contact? But before you answer that, one of the reasons was I have 3 or 4 parents who don't even know each other that have called me about the legalization of marijuana. And because it's legalized, sometime a child will be returned smelling like marijuana. A parent may pick up a child and see that the child, 2, 3, 5 years old, is getting contact from marijuana. If somebody has a group of friends over and the doors are shut, one mother said she walked in the house and it was smoke everywhere. You would think the house was on fire, but it was marijuana. And she didn't want to call the police because she didn't really think the father was doing this on purpose, but she talked to him and she wanted to get some clarity on how that situation is handled and maybe some help from CPS. But so I wanted to know, how hard do you think it is, difficult it is for contact with CPS, and what ways should parents go? Because you mentioned some parents that got in contact with you, but I have had parents who have had very hard times contacting CPS. And on site is very hard.
Sure, thank you for that question. And of course, I can't speak for CPS specifically because they're not under our purview of the court, but I can understand and appreciate the concern that parents have. and trying to get that information from CPS. And while we are not CPS and maybe don't have that same information, one service we can offer is to help parents in facilitating that contact. Because sometimes we have those internal contacts where we could kind of get in touch with someone at CPS and give them a tap on the shoulder perhaps to give that parent, reach out to that parent and give them a call. Or if we need to schedule a meeting of some kind, then that's something that we can do. So parents who are in that similar situation, I would encourage them to either call our office directly or set up one of those online appointments. They can scan QR codes or hit a link on the website and set up an appointment, and we can go over all of those options with them at that time. We'd be happy to do that. Because I understand that parents oftentimes have a lot of anxiety and concern when CPS is involved. And then inevitably, that might mean that friend of the court is involved, and the court is involved, and it all sort of runs together. So I can understand and appreciate that. As far as the concerns around marijuana, I, again, can't give you CPS perspective, but I'll give you the FOC perspective.
Okay.
When we're evaluating a case for custody or parenting time, and use of marijuana is something that comes up as a concern for parents, and it does, right? And marijuana being legalized, we sort of take off the illegal drug lens and we put on legal substance lens. Because a parent can have issues if they're abusing a legal substance as well, whether it's alcohol, prescription medication, or in this instance, marijuana. So the focus is on not necessarily what a parent's use of that particular substance is, but how it impacts the child. So child is smelling like marijuana. Okay, well, tell us more about that. Who can we talk to and substantiate that? Who else might be involved in that? And then around those concerns, I would anticipate that our office would structure a parenting time or custody plan to recommend to the court that would address those concerns, and whether that means having prohibitions around use during parenting time. That's a possibility, something that can be in an order. Required random drug testing. We've seen that in parenting time orders as well. So there are options available, and I understand and appreciate parents' concern there.
Hey, thank you, Tracy.
Thank you.
And I'm glad I asked that because sometimes they are caught between, do we call CPS, do we call a friend of the court, do we call police? But just even the services that with the child support and working with some of these fathers that have had hard times finding jobs, but making a balance that the mother gets the support or vice versa when it's the father receiving child support. I think it's been a good balance at friend of the court. So just want to thank you for your service.
Thank you, I appreciate that very much.
Thank you. I don't have anything else from commissioners. I do not have any comments. We appreciate the presentation today. Thank you both for your service. We appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
With that, we will move to agenda item number 6, which is public comment related only to the agenda action items. Today, that is the Saddlebag Drain District bonds, the Fire Commission contract, and the Brownfield Plan Agreement. I'll be shocked if anybody has anything on that, but if you do, please come forward. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Wendy Price. I'm the Executive Director of Flat River Outreach Ministries. So we are here seeking the Brownfield. And tell you a little bit about us. We are a nonprofit. We've been around for 27 years. We serve the Lowell community, the greater Lowell community. We serve about 1,000 families a year, providing and supporting them and empowering them to meet their basic needs, such as food, family support, along with housing. In 2016, we started our housing journey where we offer affordable and supportive housing in the community of Lowell. And we quickly learned that it wasn't enough. And so we decided that we needed to construct more affordable housing and supportive housing in Lowell. But we know our community, we know the people that we serve, we do not know housing development. And so we quickly sought after partners that would help us be successful in this space. Because you can spend a lot of money in housing really quick without a whole lot to show for it. So we developed a partnership with ICCF Community Homes in Grand Rapids, and then also Eastbrook Homes as well. And I'm pleased to say we have started construction of our facility that will have 3 buildings, housing up to 40 people in 17 units, in 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, and 3-bedroom units. And so we've been able to secure partnerships with, again, ICCF Community Homes, Eastbrook Homes, but also many in the Lowell and Greater Grand Rapids area to secure funding and partnerships. A lot of in-kind came from the community to make this project possible. And today, you have a chance to partner in this program as well and ensure its sustainability. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Wendy. And I didn't mean to be dismissive of your particular item there. Okay, anyone else for public comment related to agenda items only? I see none. We will move on to agenda item number 7, which is the consent agenda. I will call on Commissioner Faber.
I move the consent agenda of today's date.
Thank you. Is there support? Supported by Commissioner Coleman. Questions, comments, or discussion on this item? This will be a roll call vote. I'd like to ask, as we complete the vote, take your minutes that are in this packet from the closed session, hand them to your left, all the way down to the clerk. With that, Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On the motion to adopt the consent agenda, Commissioner Boojak,
Yes.
Vice Chair Burrow.
Yes.
Commissioners DeBoer. Faber.
Yes.
Halsted.
Yes.
Hennessy. Hildenbrand.
Yes.
Coleman.
Yes.
LeGrand.
Yes.
McLeod.
Yes.
Merchant. Morales. Morse. Oliver King. Pakla. Ponstein. Sparks. Steck.
Yes.
Teal. Womack.
Yes.
Chair Green.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 21 yeas, 0 nays. The motion passes. The consent agenda is adopted.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We'll move to agenda item number 8. And for 8A, I will call on Minority Vice Chair McLeod.
Thank you, Chair. I move Resolution 84 of today's date, Saddlebag Drainage District Bond Series 2025, coming to us from Fiscal Services.
Thank you. Is there support?
Support.
Supported by Commissioner Womack. Questions, comments, or discussion on this item? Yes, Commissioner Faber.
Thank you, Chair. First of all, I'd like to thank the Drain Commission for updating the website with more information. It's gotten a lot easier to track these projects over the last couple months. There's still work to do, and I hope we can continue to show the community where their project really is in this pipeline. I think I've seen around this table at least some of these projects, because they take 3, 4, 5 years, we lose track of kind of where they are in the process. And frankly, it's not the most transparent process. There's special boards, tribunals, et cetera, that come in at different times. So I appreciate the follow-up from admin after finance related to the flow chart and the number of projects that we have happening. I'm hoping that as part of, I don't know when the Drain Commission will be giving their presentation to the whole board, but it would be really nice to see all of those projects and where they are in the timeline as we go through that. My question is, when I went online and kind of looked at the overall costs and then the assessments, it looks like about almost 62% of the assessment is from property owners within the district. And then there are several local municipalities as well as road commission, et cetera, that contribute to the project to make up the full $3 million that is being requested. Can I have clarity on how those local units of government are included in the process? Do they also get a yearly assessment? Do they have the opportunity to pay in advance, or are they subject to the same opportunity to delay payment year over year? I'll start with that one.
Drain Commissioner Yonker, good morning.
Thank you. Yes, they have municipalities that is determined on an at-large percentage. So we take the full cost of the project, 20% is covered by municipalities, and that gets broke up between the ones that are in that district. So in this case, we have the city of Kentwood and Grand Rapids Township. So that 20% is broke up between the two, and it's based on
And the
the amount.
city of Grand Rapids.
And, yeah, that's a very small piece, yeah, correct. And that's broke up based on the acreage they have in the district, just like it works with the property owner. They get assessed based on acreage.
Do they get the same opportunity to pay that up front,
Correct.
or
Most-
they can?
Or
pay-
they can follow the bond, right, they can be part of the bond.
Okay.
That's their choice.
And how are they included in sort of the notices and the process that we have? That, I know we send mailings to individuals, but how do the local units get information?
We're required by law to send notice to the clerks. Clerks get the message, and they're required to pass it on to whoever they have to pass it on to.
Okay, great. Follow-up question. When we looked at Nash Creek and some of the other projects, you know, we had a laundry list of partners that came alongside that project to really look at more mitigation strategies, what happens before things go into a pipe. Who are the partners on this project? Obviously, Frederick Meyer Gardens is a huge landowner in this drainage district. Are they engaged in this in any way? Are there other partners? What type of drain, I guess, is this? Is there that opportunity? Thank you.
On this project, there is no partners. It's just a typical maintenance drain project. What we had with this was, we had two drains that were one stream, all right? So the Saddlebag drain came from the north, starts at Meyer Gardens and goes down underneath Cascade Road, and then it stopped. And then we had about a football field or more distance of no drain, and then it picked up into the Gillette drain, which then runs to the city of Kentwood. But that, what I call the no man's land, the city ran a sanitary sewer through there, it's all sand, and the manhole was set right in the middle of the stream. So now we got the water hitting that manhole going both sides, and all that erosion taking place, and no one's fixing it. No one has the authority to fix it. Property owner doesn't care, and that's very common. So we're, in the meantime, we're getting sand dumped into a pond, inline pond, by the amount of about 20, 30 yards every 6 months because of this. And we keep digging this thing out, and then it gets assessed out. And it's a problem, because when that pond fills up, we then start filling up a wetland. And this is a very critical wetland that I couldn't allow that to take place. Nor would Eagle be very responsive to that. So we then had the hearing, and the township petitioned this, Grampus Township, this particular project. And we then connected that as one drain, but then we had to go through the engineering, the permitting, and that's part of the project. So there was it was just a maintenance project. But because we were connecting those, it had to be done through a petition process. Yeah.
Okay, anyone else? Commissioner Womack.
Thank you for being here today, and I just wanted to say, reading the presentation, and then there was a part of it that answered some questions that might be predetermined that people would ask, and you just did a great job on this, you and your office, and it is really a step up from things that I saw years ago with information that went out to the public, and I think that's why we're not having a lot of blowback on this. You really gave a great presentation of answered a lot of questions I had right in that presentation. So just want to thank you for your hard work and moving the needle as far as getting information out to the public on things like this drainage that's going to cover from Kentwood, Grand Rapids Township. It's just great information, and you're looking surprised that I'm here to tell you great job.
No, I know your heart's always right. And I appreciate that, and I'll pass that on to my staff, because they're really key to keeping that information flowing.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Commissioner Pakla.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Commissioner Yonker, great to see you here. Real quick question. I noticed that the Board of Determination letter is from 4 years ago.
Correct.
I know when we had some conversations previously this year, we talked about the length of time that happens between the Board of Determination or a petition and when the projects actually get started. Do you all have data you can share with the board on sort of the number of projects that have had that Board of Determination process happen that are now in the queue for your office to actually engage with? Because I think that's as we start to think through the ongoing improvements that we are enjoying seeing coming from your office, that's one place that I think would be really useful for us to understand is what's in the queue, what's coming up next, how many projects are there that are still to be determined, so that it doesn't look like there's just a long delay, but actually there's lots of projects and you're sort of taking them off.
We gave you a list, you should have that in your packet, I don't know if that was given, of what we have currently, all right, that are out for bid, and the dates are on that list. So you all should have gotten that list.
Yep.
All right, that's what's current, so
Okay.
that is what's ongoing.
And so that's everything that's gotten to that Board of Determination stage.
Well, it has been past that. This stuff is all out for bid now and is getting in the queue to be worked on.
Okay.
So I think there's like 9 more that'll be coming out this year, that projects that'll be started sometime between fall and next spring.
And that's really useful. And I think additionally useful would be everything that's gotten to that Board of Determination stage, because ostensibly, once it gets to that stage, those are projects that you will eventually
Eventually,
take
yeah.
out to bid,
If
right?
it gets to there and they approve it, the board approves it, yeah, there'll be a project.
Okay.
I have nothing in the queue. We had one petition that came to us, but thank goodness the board refused it. So that went dead. At this point, nothing.
Okay.
And I'm not encouraging anymore at this point. We gotta finish what we got. It costs everybody a lot of money and it just has to slow down.
Yeah, that's useful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you bet.
Anyone else? Okay, great. I see none. With that, this is a roll call vote. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On the motion to adopt Resolution 84, Commissioner Boojak. Vice Chair Burrow. Commissioners DeBoer. Faber. Halsted. Hennessy. Hildenbrand.
Yes.
Coleman.
Yes.
LeGrand.
Yes.
McLeod.
Yes.
Merchant. Morales. Morse. Oliver King. Pakla.
Yes.
Ponstein. Sparks. Steck. Teal. Womack. Chair Green.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 21 yeas, 0 nays. The motion passes. Resolution 84 is adopted.
Thank you. We'll move to 8B, and I will call on Commissioner Halsted.
Thank you. I move to adopt Resolution 85 to approve the amended Kent County Fire Commission contract between Kent County and the Kent County Fire Commission member agencies to authorize the board chair designee to sign the amended contract.
Thank you. Supported by Commissioner Boojak. Questions, comments, or discussion on this item? I see none. This is a voice vote. All those in favor of adoption of the resolution, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries and the resolution is adopted. Move to agenda item 8C, and I will call on Commissioner Faber.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to move Resolution 86 of today's date, Brownfield Plan Agreement, brought to us from the Administrator's Office. Excuse me.
Thank you. Is there support? Supported by Commissioner Pakla. Questions, comments, or discussion on this item? Commissioner Hildebrand.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to thank Wendy for being here this morning and thank her and her staff at the Flat River Outreach Ministries for all they do in our community. The housing is a big project, but they do so much more with the food pantry and the thrift store and help with taxes and all kinds of things. So I just appreciate her being there. I know the board has been invited to a tour a week from Monday to see the 3 units that are going up, the 3 buildings and the 17 units that are going up just east of downtown Lowell on Main Street. So if anybody can attend, I know they'd welcome folks to check it out. So thanks again, and I encourage support of the resolution.
Thank you. Commissioner Faber.
Thank you, Chair. So Chair Green and I are both on the Brownfield Authority Board. We're excited, I think I can share, we're both excited that the first project is out of the gate. We've kind of cracked the seal on using Kent County's Brownfield Authority for the first time with this project. We're looking forward to more community partners coming forward to use the tool. Just a reminder, if your local unit has a brownfield, you can use that, but if they don't, they can come through the county. It's virtually the same process with the same approvals at the local level. It just allows us to use our tool. The advantage of Kent County, again, is the long-term monitoring of affordable housing. So a lot of times the local unit might not have the capacity to build the systems to really track keeping those units affordable over time. So that's a service that Kent County is providing to the local units, which I think we'll continue to see that get implemented. So excited to see this project moving forward, excited that we have affordable housing growing out in our community. And thank you so much for all of your work in putting the partnership together.
Thank you. Commissioner Womack.
Just want to thank you and for your partnership with ICCF and others to make this happen. And whenever we can have some new homes, as we need so many here in Kent County, it's a plus. With ICCF.
Commissioner Womack, can you make sure your mic is on?
Yes, just want to thank you again for working with ICCF and other partners to make this happen. Whenever we can increase housing in Kent County, it's a plus. With with ICCF also in their mission statement, looking to make affordable homes and equitable situations. I just know that partnership is really going to help in our housing crisis, so thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner LeGrand.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to pile on and say I love this project. I love the brownfield that we've opened up to people, and to see new housing being built is great. And just a good reminder that housing is not just in our urban center. It's not a need just here. It's across the county. And so to see this coming up in the Lowell community is great. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Steck.
Thank you, Chair Green. Just quickly, how many other projects are in the queue at the brownfield? And are they all housing projects, or are they commercial and housing?
Josh Spencer. Good morning.
So officially, that number is 0 because everything else is kind of more behind the scenes kind of conversations. I'm aware of at least 2 projects that are working toward submitting information to the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority, and several other communities that are more just exploring this tool as a whole and how they plan to use it and what their priorities are around it.
So has word gotten out? I mean, do all the communities that don't have their own authority aware that we are there?
Yeah, we've communicated with them in writing. We've attended all the quadrant meetings and also communicated through that way. And we're just individually reaching out as well, just to make sure that they're maybe thinking proactively about this tool and how they would use it, and maybe not wait until you have a project on your doorstep, and then we're kind of thinking about all these things together with specific to a project. So we're trying to get that going.
Great, thank you.
Administrator Vandenberg had a follow-up.
Just a quick clarification that the brownfield certainly could be accessed by communities that don't have a brownfield authority, but it could also be accessed by communities that do. Because the reporting, a brownfield can do economic development projects or housing projects. The reporting to the state on the housing projects is pretty major, and so a local unit that has one that they're using might also opt to use the counties for a specific project.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, I see none. With that, this is a voice vote. All those in favor of adoption of Resolution 86, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. The motion carries and the resolution is adopted. We move to agenda item number 9, which is public comment related to general county matters. Please give us your name and address, and you have up to 3 minutes. Good morning.
What up, though? How y'all doing? I'm D. Jones, passionate entrepreneur and visionary. And besides it being Kent County Board, today I'm actually going in person on ABC 13 to speak about the Stockton Community Hub that I chair. So you guys will be seeing me speak about this global, bold vision that we have of actually changing the community. I was happy to go to the Progressives at the park I'm an independent, but I like to hold the Republicans and the Democrats accountable because there are bad actors on both sides of the aisle, to be honest. And I'm a genuine person, and I don't like fake politicians and fake people. And usually I call them out, but I was just there to just spread the good news of the Stockton Community Hub because there are people that's running for a higher office, and I want you guys to know what we're doing for the community because I got a big grand vision of changing the community and being the change that I like to see and actually getting to the core root of the social issues. And I know politicians are usually, negotiating and trying to get things done for the community. So I hope to run into those politicians that will support the good work that we look to do continuously as we go after the core root of the social issues, because I've been at this for 7 years. I've been advocating for 7 years going to city government. I've been coming here consistently. I wish I could have said something to Andy about our partnership when I developed the Youth Justice Influence Esports League. I know that the county funds the courts, but the courts have its own decision. But I've been able to reduce recidivism and really been able to change it. Now I'm doing things at the DeVos Place, bringing colleges and universities and high schools all across the United States here. I'm doing it really big. I'm doing it as big as it can be. I'm actually bringing the largest in-person scholastic esports events in the United States here to the DeVos Place. So it really doesn't really get bigger than that. And I'm black, I'm African American, and I happen to be a pioneer and a visionary. And so I have to say these things because it's not people of color that look like me that's doing these things. And I'm not Caucasian, I'm a black person. I can do things sometimes better than Caucasians and sometimes better than other black people, as other people can do things better than us too. But I wanted to let you know that I am a leader, I'm a bold pioneer, a visionary, and I'm gonna keep standing on business. And you guys will see me on ABC 13 with our executive director, the guy who spoke at the United Nations and continuously invited to the United Nations, the guy who got this nice scarf from Dan DeVos when I was at the unveiling of the soccer team, and I got the shirt too from Dan DeVos. And so besides the billionaires building soccer stadiums for their 10-year vision that they had, I was sure that I spoke to Carol Van Andel and David Van Andel and all of the billionaires about the community, because we're not about to just be building soccer stadiums. We're going to build the community up, and I'm going to keep standing on business. And I look forward to y'all see me live in person with my Cartiers on, looking nice and confident. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment related to general county matters? Good morning.
Morning. Kristen Geetson, 3471 Thistledew in Plainfield Township. Good morning, everyone. I'm here today as the Vice Chair of the Kent County Family and Children's Coordinating Council. I'm happy to be here today to introduce the council and to highlight some of the critical work that we're doing to support the well-being of children, youth, and families in Kent County. Formed by the Kent County Board of Commissioners in 1991, this council is a unique collaboration of representatives from state and county government, education, business, private agencies, advocates, and community members. Our mission is to provide leadership to enhance the well-being of children and families in Kent County so they may achieve their greatest potential. As we've engaged with various community stakeholders, we've identified 3 critical areas that require attention and investment. First, economic security is a critical foundation for families to thrive. When families have stable incomes, access to affordable housing, and reliable transportation, they're better equipped to succeed in all areas of life. And we're heartened to see that the board's commitment to supporting economic security through existing efforts to promote affordable housing and transportation continues. As the board starts work on the 2026 strategic plan, this council encourages you to continue an upstream focus in investing in prevention throughout the county. Prevention efforts like health education, maternal infant support, early childhood programming, and access to health care address the root causes of many challenges and create a community that's more resilient, stable, and prosperous. And last, to achieve this vision, we must emphasize collaboration and resource utilization across organizations and sectors. By sharing information and resources and leveraging each other's strengths, we can ensure services are connected, effective, and efficient. Our council is committed to fostering collaboration, and we're particularly excited about this board's newly formed Health and Safety Committee. Our council can be a valuable resource to this new committee. We would like to offer our expertise and insights into the needs of children and families across the entire county. We'd be happy to provide data, research, best practices to inform the committee's decisions and help identify creative and effective and sustainable strategies to improve health and safety outcomes for all families and all children. Our goal is simple: to create a Kent County where every family and every child has the opportunity to thrive, and I look forward to collaborating with you in the future. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Kristen. Anyone else for public comment related to general county matters? Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Bill Knapp. I live at 1101 Fairfield Avenue Northwest, Grand Rapids, Michigan. I'm here as a member of the Kent County Environmental Action Team. And I want to start out by thanking Commissioner Faber for mentioning the loss of a great voice of Jane Goodall. And I'm going to go off script. My script is on a piece of paper that you'll all get. And it's really the things that we feel in the Environmental Action Team need to be done and looked at. I share a lot of things. We probably all share a lot of things with Jane Goodall, our love of the environment. And I'm also, I have my bachelor's degree in zoology, so she and I have a lot in common. And I followed her for her whole career. Well, while I was around anyway. And the point is that we have a great void to fill. And the Environmental Action Team wants to do what we can and asking you to join us in being that voice. Thank you for all you've done. There's been great progress over the last year that the county has made with environmental issues, and we know there's yet more to come. Over the last year, many things have happened. We formed our organization on January 31st. Today, we're nearing 100 voices, and it's going to continue to grow. Our meetings get larger, our events get more engaged, and people want to have a voice, and we're showing up. And that's the point, that what we want to do is advocate not just for the county, but for the environment of our county. And so that we have a good, safe place to grow up and to live for not just this generation, but for generations to come. So over the last year, a couple of things have happened. We know the CAP has been approved. We know that the Grand Valley, I'm going to look it up. West Michigan, yeah, thank you. The Grand Valley Metro Council Healthy Climate Plan. It's my partner, Terry Gates. He'll be up here in a minute. As you go into your strategic planning, now is the time for you, like we are, and this is what we're doing at this present moment in the Environmental Action Team, is adopting all of the issues and elements of the plans, and how can we advocate and promote and advance these things? What can we do as citizens? So we would urge you, on behalf of these nearly 100 voices, to do the same, to take a look at these and move and implement a sustainability plan that then you can take action on, as we hope to. And really, that's it. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment?
Good morning, Commissioners. Terry Gates, 7135 McCords in Alto, Michigan. I'm also with Bill, a leader in the Kent County Environmental Action Team, and also the Executive Director of Healthy Planet Strategies, amongst other organizations. As you develop the Kent County's next strategic plan, I urge you to make the environment and sustainability central pillars of the plan. The Grand Valley Metro Council has released the draft of the West Michigan Healthy Climate Plan, which includes a regional target of 52% reduction in emissions by the year 2030. That goal is ambitious but achievable, but only if Kent County can take a leadership role. Pope Leo reminds us that environmental stewardship is a moral imperative. So this isn't just about protecting nature, it's about protecting people, public health, and the future of our communities. Across Kent County, we are facing major environmental pressures, a growing housing demand, increasing energy grid strain as demand rises, expanding public support for climate-smart practices, and a growing concern over water quality and availability. Kent County's Community Development Action Plan already commits to improving neighborhoods and strengthening infrastructure. Building on that foundation, I encourage you to consider establishing a Kent County Solar Commission, a powerful step toward ensuring that all residents benefit from clean, affordable, locally produced energy. Such a commission would promote solar-friendly zoning and streamline permitting. It would coordinate financial and technical assistance with local municipalities. It would ensure consumer protections and equitable access to solar energy. It would leverage cross-sector partnerships while promoting environmental literacy. This approach would create good-paying local jobs. It would lower household energy burdens and strengthen community resilience, particularly in neighborhoods that need relief the most. Kent County can also strengthen public engagement, ensuring that residents are informed, involved, and empowered to shape a cleaner, more resilient energy future. That's why I urge you to commit to developing a Kent County Climate Action Plan. We have a regional plan, we have a city plan. Kent County needs to step up and help build resilient strategies for flooding, heat, and extreme weather. We need to address waste reduction and greenhouse gas mitigation, and we need to promote community solar and clean energy expansion. Mr. Vandenberg, I respectfully ask that someone from your team reach out to the Kent County Environmental Action Team and assist the county's strategic efforts to integrate environmental actions that improve the quality of life for all residents. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment related to general matters? Good morning.
My name is Shannon Tanis. I'm a displaced person in Kent County. I recently got my FOIA request completed by the Sheriff's Department, and it was very concerning, disturbing when I looked at the information that they gave me in the log of when it was completed, and that it was done in July, and I wasn't given it until just the 1st of October. If that doesn't say withholding with intent, I don't know what does, okay? The multitude of OMA issues that I've tried to address with this county, with its other departments, and I'm not getting reciprocity on engagement to the level that needs to be. And I think I keep proving that by pointing out and screen capturing something else that's not being looked at. So at this point, because there isn't positive reciprocity engagement with me to address these to the degree they are, and that I continually start looking at your meetings that you just approved and the September 11th, and they're not fully accurate. I'm not going to tell you exactly what it is because the selective engagement, what to address and not fully come to the table. I'm tired of nitpicking at and going along, and it's being delayed and denied to address to the full extent that needs to. To also address the issues regarding FOC, I appreciate their lovely presentation to paint a picture of such positivity. But what happens when families are forced into these because they are poor and they have to receive Department of Health and Human Services benefits? And you're forced to comply with establishing parentage and participating in the collection of child support, even though the law says when it is an issue of safety or threat upon a party that they do not have to participate. But the bodies keep ignoring that and not giving full attention and relief to that degree. So what it does is it causes conflict, more domestic violence between the parents, and even cases of murder. So when we can't look at the negative aspects or the non-compliant cases and address what needs to be done to help get full remedy and relief to the parties and look at the full impact that that is having on those non-compliant cases in the limbo state of hot topic that people don't want to address when it comes to maladministration and deficiency with those, we got a problem. I am a person that's impacted by these mechanisms, and it's been 30 years almost that I've had to participate and watch these entitlements over my participation in what I need to be successful. And it hasn't been successful. In my daughter's father's case, they've allowed him to be a heroin addict and commit crimes and stuff, and his family pay him under the table and do nothing about enforcement to the degree that it needs to be. And now they're allowing him to entertain disability so he can evade more of compliance with child support. As I'm homeless in my vehicle, I'm almost owed over almost $40,000 between my two child support cases. So how is I'm not allowed to use that as a credit to my house that I owned, or getting out of homelessness, or obtaining property to be successful, or the things that I need, and that I got to do it from my capacity. So that's all I'm saying.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anyone else for public comment this morning? Okay, I see none. We will move on to agenda item number 10, which is the administrator's report.
Yes, just briefly today, I wanted to mention that we did hold our two quadrant meetings with our local units of government this week. We were up at the North Services Complex on Monday, and we had a robust group down in Gaines yesterday. And so we had some good interactions with our local unit officials, and they do appreciate that. So to our commissioners who did attend, thank you. We appreciate that participation as well. That's all for today.
Thank you, Al. Move to agenda item number 11, reports. Any commissioners have reports for the board this morning? Commissioner Steck.
Thank you, Chair Green. So as many of you may know, the state has engaged in a fundamental restructuring of the Medicaid behavioral health system. This is the first restructuring since 2013, I believe, which involves essentially redesigning how Medicaid services are funded and how those funds are allocated back down to the system. As part of that, earlier this week, the board, which includes Commissioner LeGrand, Commissioner Halstead, Commissioner Faber, debated and approved a resolution which calls for Network 180 to be a founding member in a new regional entity that would participate within one of the three new regions designed into this restructuring. So it's not clear yet exactly how that will go. The deadline for submissions is Monday. And so a submission will be submitted by this new entity that Network 180 is a founding member on, and that will be one of the PIHPs within this new 40-county region. It is no surprise that there is a lot of unknowns and disruption in this system. Since I got into it, that has been the characteristic of the system. But we will see. Our hope is that we will be able to find a more effective system for assuring that those funds are adequate and that they are distributed appropriately. So stay tuned. If you have more questions, please feel free to reach out. We'll answer what we can. Secondly, just a note, many of you have heard of the 100 in 100 program, which is a program for addressing chronic homelessness in Kent County, particularly in the Grand Rapids area, but also across the county. That program received an award this past couple weeks down in Phoenix as being one of the most innovative programs to address chronic homelessness. It's had great success so far. Didn't solve all the problems yet, but we're still working on it. So acknowledge those folks and all of the participating organizations that have come together to make that so successful.
Thank you. We call them out, but that really has been a collaborative effort from a lot of people at the table. So congratulations. Anyone else for reports this morning? I see none. We will move to agenda item number 12, which is miscellaneous. Does anyone have any miscellaneous items for the board this morning? Commissioner Faber.
It's actually a couple questions for Al. I didn't know if you were going to cover it in your report. 2 weeks, we're going to have a strategic planning meeting. What do we need to know as commissioners leading into that? It's only a couple days out now. And two, could you give a quick, or at least include in some summary, state budget has been passed. what does that mean for us? And two, federal shutdown, what does that mean for us? Thank you.
Sure. I'll start with the budget. So we were very pleased that the state did reach an agreement on a budget that left counties relatively, we didn't get harmed much or at all in the budget. So we maintained revenue sharing at last year's number. The health, the annual contract that we signed for the health department, we did receive that this week. And even though there are a couple areas in that agreement where, depending what happens at the federal level, we could see some reduced revenue, but at this point, we simply don't know. KCCA, which has been a particular concern, is held, at least as far as the state budget goes, we're held harmless there. And then that will depend some on what happens with the federal budget as well. But in any event, KCCA is good for, in any event, 3 more months. So at this point, we feel about as good as we could, I think, with the state budget and where we're at. With the federal budget, it's just a blank. I mean, we're in daily contact with our lobbyists and others involved in the federal process, and there really is no news to report. We're not sure what activity is happening, or if we're getting close, or if it's just people aren't engaging, so we just don't have any good answers on that yet. But obviously, that's something we're also concerned with. We did send a notice to employees a couple weeks ago, not knowing what was going to happen, and basically with a plan to hold everybody harmless through the end of October as we sort through all these things. Because quite frankly, if we were simply to, say, lay people off on October 1, if there aren't budgets, it would be more expensive for us to put it all back together when you look at some of the union bumping things that happen and all that sort of thing. So far, at this moment, we still are not anticipating any layoffs at this point. Obviously, that can change by the day or by the hour, depending on what happens outside of our control. But we're watching that very closely. As far as strategic planning, if we do have any pre-planning homework, it would be in the form of a survey. We're still kind of kicking that around. But other than that, it would be as typical. So we're looking at maybe some tweaks to the process, but, again, we're meeting on those real time, so.
Commissioner Morales.
Hello. I've mentioned this a few times at the last meetings we've had, but I would just like to put it back on your radar that KCCA, in light of some funding uncertainty and the incoming winter coldness, we're hosting a luncheon to raise money for our fund, which will be on October 16 at noon in the KCCA building in the multipurpose room. So I would love to see you all there.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Ponstein.
Thank you, Chair Green. So just a follow-up to Commissioner Faber's for you, Al. So there's a shortfall, there's a problem possibly with the federal government. Doesn't our county have a sizable fund balance that I've always been told over my 18 years is that it's there for emergencies? I mean, wouldn't this be a time that we would tap into that?
Yes, in fact, by agreeing to hold people harmless for a month, we would be tapping into that. So, I mean, the worst nuclear situation would be if we did lose all of our federal funding, which is $65 million a year, which would be, to keep people whole for a month, would be over $4 million. Obviously, we're not going to be anything near that, but if we did have to lay people off, what we're saying is we wouldn't start until November to actually do layoffs. So notices would go before that. So there would be a use of fund balance to get to that point to address the emergency. By the same token, there are some programs that we can't supplant with county dollars. And there's others where we're simply not geared up to pay for $110 million of state and federal money. I mean, we just simply don't have that in the budget. We don't really have it in the fund balance to remain healthy to pay that for very long. And so that's why we kind of settled on a month, making sense, helping people adapt to the reality that something could happen, but also, and not overreacting, in my opinion, and cutting people off on the first of the fiscal year, thus creating more problem and even cost for us in doing that. So it's kind of a happy balance, but at some point, if we don't have a federal budget in a month, then we're all in deep trouble, I think. And so, at that point, I would not recommend, continuing funding state and federal funded expenses.
But isn't this how it always is? We've got Congress and the Senate that don't agree. When they do finally agree, everything's made whole. So it's not like the money's not gonna be coming, that the government's taking in trillions of dollars of tax dollars every day.
I would only say that this is a unique year. You're exactly right. I've probably faced a dozen impending and a few actual shutdowns over my career. In every other year, both state and federal, somebody would tell us, you're going to be made whole. It may not be in a big check right after we reach the budget agreement. It might happen monthly or by the pay period, depending on the case, over the next fiscal year. This is a unique year. Nobody was telling us that. And so in the past, in years where we didn't send out notices or do that sort of thing, it was because we had assurances from the state or the feds, depending on the year. This is the first year I recall where we've had both at the same time. And this year, we didn't get those assurances. And so we felt it was responsible to take action.
Thank you, Commissioner. Anyone else miscellaneous this morning? All right, see none. We'll move to agenda item number 13, and I will again call on Commissioner Faber.
Thank you, Chair. I move to adjourn, subject to the call of the Chair, to Thursday, October 23, 2025, at 8:30 a.m. for our official meeting.
Thank you. Is there support? Support. Supported by Commissioner LeGrand. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you all.